7 things evil people do when they know that you know. Have you ever felt a chill when facing someone? Despite their smile, there's something cold and unsettling behind their eyes. Have you trusted someone only to later discover they weren't just fake, but were silently sabotaging you from within? And when they realize you've seen through their mask, what happens next? What surfaces when evil knows it can no longer hide? Evil, no matter how hard we try to define or understand it, remains a vague, elusive concept. In Stoic philosophy, we're encouraged to observe human nature calmly and without judgment. But when it comes to evil, something changes. Sometimes you don't need analysis or logic, because your heart senses it before your mind even starts to process. There are moments when you'll just feel it, a deep unease, a gut instinct that something isn't right. And strangely, when evil shows up, it doesn't need to explain itself. That feeling is enough to warn you. It's raw, visceral, and undeniable. What's truly frightening isn't just that evil exists, but that it can come from the most unexpected places. It doesn't always hide in dark alleys or lurk in the shadows. Sometimes it's right there, in schools, churches, sacred spaces, or even the homes of people we love and trust. These people often appear perfectly normal, polite, kind, even generous. But beneath that carefully crafted image lies manipulation, bitterness, and cruelty. And sadly, by the time we recognize them for who they are, it's often too late. Defining evil with simple terms like immoral or cruel isn't enough. Everyone interprets those words differently. But when you see evil, when you've truly unmasked it, and when it knows that you've seen it, that's when its true nature begins to emerge. In this video, rooted in Stoic wisdom, we'll explore 7 clear behaviors that evil people exhibit once they realize you've seen through them. Our goal is to help you recognize these patterns and prepare yourself mentally so you can face them with calm, strength, and clarity. Sign 1. They reinvent themselves with a new reputation. Have you ever looked at someone and wondered, is this person possessed? The reality might be even darker, because sometimes people can be far more dangerous than you imagine. Not because they look the part, but because they know exactly how to hide what they are. These individuals are masters of disguise. They can live beside you for years, smiling, helping, blending in, while secretly manipulating, draining, and deceiving. And when the truth hits, your first thought is often, how did I not see this before? But don't blame yourself. Evil people are experts at psychological manipulation. They have no problem exploiting trust, emotions, or innocence to get what they want. To them, people are tools. And once they've served their purpose, they're discarded, without hesitation. Now here's the twist. When you finally confront them, when they know you know, they don't admit, apologize, or explain. Their first move is to reshape your perception. They begin crafting a new version of themselves, a more refined, innocent, or misunderstood persona. They want you to doubt your instincts, to second-guess your judgment, to believe you've misunderstood them. They turn the tables, shifting the narrative so they appear as the victim, or worse, the hero. And here's the cruel part. Often, others will believe this new version of them. You might end up as the only one who sees the truth, trapped in silence, unable to expose what others refuse to believe. But this is only the beginning. Once the first mask cracks, evil doesn't stop. It adapts, transforms, and escalates. So what's the next tactic they'll use to protect their facade and continue their game? Let's uncover that in the next part. Once evil realizes you've seen through the mask, they don't retreat. Instead, they reinvent themselves. But what's even more dangerous is that they don't just change their image. They craft a whole new story designed to win your trust back. They fully understand the power of reputation and how others perceive them. So when they're exposed, they don't disappear. No, they launch a sophisticated campaign to rebuild their image from the ground up. Picture this: someone with a known bad reputation in your community. They've hurt people, manipulated situations, and left behind a trail of emotional damage. But the moment they realize you've caught on, they don't avoid you. They approach you, and they come armed with a brand new story. With a calm voice and a kind face, they deny everything you've ever heard or even seen. They shift the blame to circumstances, other people, or things you wouldn't understand. Suddenly, the story becomes complicated, muddy, almost too tangled to grasp clearly. It feels like watching a carefully rehearsed play where they cast themselves as the misunderstood soul, longing for sympathy and redemption. Marcus Aurelius, a key figure in Stoic philosophy, once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Evil people understand this deeply. If they can change the way you think about them, they gain power over not just your actions, but your perception of the truth itself. This reinvention isn't growth. It's not change. It's a calculated maneuver, a way to sidestep accountability while continuing to manipulate others in the shadows. You've probably seen this at work or in personal relationships. Imagine a coworker known for betrayal and dishonesty. Once they realize you know their game, they suddenly shift. They start telling you how much they've changed, about the pain they've been through, how life has taught them a lesson, and now they're a new person. But behind that touching narrative, lies, a thin veil covering the same dark intentions. Their goal isn't just to protect their reputation. They want to make you feel like you misjudged them. Their new story isn't the truth. It's bait, a trap dressed up in false vulnerability. And once you start doubting your instincts, your confidence begins to crumble. Without even realizing it, you might start buying into the fiction they've built so cleverly. This doesn't just create confusion, it weakens your ability to see clearly, to resist manipulation, and to protect yourself. In moments like these, Stoic wisdom urges us to stay grounded, to keep a clear mind, to cling to the truth, no matter how tempting it is to let emotions, pity, guilt, doubt, cloud our judgment. That's why when someone suddenly reinvents themselves in your eyes, you must pause. This isn't always a sign of true transformation. It might be a tactical disguise, meant to keep their deception alive. Sign 2, they radiate strange energy and make your environment uncomfortable. And here's something even more unsettling. These people don't stop at image control. They give off signals, strange, almost invisible ones, that unsettle you. Something about them feels off. You can't put your finger on it, but it's there. Maybe it's the way they look at you. Maybe it's how your stomach churns when they enter the room. That creeping sense of discomfort. That might just be the next clue to who they really are. Don't ignore that feeling. It might be your mind trying to protect you from what your eyes can't yet see. So what's the second sign? Why does their presence make your skin crawl? Let's uncover that in the next part. In the previous part, we talked about how manipulators reshape their image to confuse you. But what happens when their mask slips and something feels off, even if you can't explain it? That's when the energy shifts and your instincts kick in. Let's talk about strange vibrations, those subtle signals you can't quite name, but you definitely feel. Vibrations are more than just sounds or movements. They're emotional impressions, energetic frequencies that we pick up unconsciously from everything around us. From people's tone of voice, their presence, the space they occupy, all of it carries energy. And that energy speaks volumes, even when words don't. Everything is energy, including our bodies. Every emotion, every interaction carries a frequency. And whether we realize it or not, we're absorbing and responding to these frequencies all the time. Some people find this idea abstract, but there's growing scientific evidence showing how energy and vibrations influence how we perceive reality, interact with others, and even shape our emotional states. These vibrations become even more noticeable when you're around people with hidden malicious intent. There's a discomfort, a tension in the air, and once they realize you've seen through their mask, those vibrations shift. Their presence starts to feel off, wrong, even threatening. This isn't just about what they say or do, it's about what they radiate. You sense the change not just with your eyes or ears, but with your gut. The atmosphere becomes heavier, more hostile. They start acting strangely, as if every move they make is calculated. The warmth in their voice disappears. Their smiles feel forced. And that lingering sense of unease, it's not your imagination. It's your intuition catching what your logic hasn't fully processed yet. Especially when these people hold some position of power, whether at work, in a group, or even in a close relationship. They use that power to make your environment more difficult. They might start micromanaging you, over-questioning your actions, or pushing boundaries that once felt safe. They invade your space, emotionally, mentally, even physically. They ask personal questions they never used to ask. They monitor you more closely. It's not curiosity, it's control. And it's rooted in one thing: fear. They sense that you might be pulling away from their influence, and that terrifies them. According to Stoic philosophy, this is exactly the moment when we must hold firm. Epictetus once said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them." When you feel those strange vibrations, don't let them overpower your clarity. Recognize them for what they are: defense mechanisms. These people are scrambling to reassert control, and their behavior is an act of desperation. Rather than reacting emotionally, you can step back with calm. Don't let their chaos become your chaos. Use this moment as a mirror, not to absorb their toxicity, but to reflect your own inner strength. Toxic people may try endlessly to manipulate your environment, but here's the truth. You decide how you interpret their actions. You choose your response. And in Stoic practice, every external event is just material for inner growth. So when the energy shifts, when someone's presence feels like a weight pressing on your chest, don't panic. Stay grounded. Keep your mind still. Let your inner peace be your shield. Have you ever experienced that eerie feeling that someone's presence just felt off, and soon after, they began making your life harder? How did you respond? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how you handled it and how you protected your peace. But while their energy might feel strange, their words can be even more deceptive. Because once their lies begin to unravel, they don't stop. They just cover one lie with another. In the next part, we'll explore the third sign, when evil people lie to bury past lies, and how this web of deception reveals far more than they intend. In the last part, we explored how toxic individuals give off strange, unsettling energy once they realize you've seen through them. But it doesn't stop there. When they sense the truth closing in, they resort to one of their oldest and most dangerous weapons: lies. Sign 3, they lie to cover. Past lies expanded and refined. Lies are like threads in a spider's web. Each one might seem small, harmless even, but with every added strand, the web grows more complex, more tangled, and harder to escape. And here's the catch. The person weaving it doesn't just trap others, they trap themselves. Wicked people, when confronted with the truth, rarely stop to untangle what they've spun. Instead, they continue weaving, layer upon layer of deception, hoping that the sheer volume of lies will bury the truth so deep it can never resurface. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." When someone is committed to defending a lie, they shut out the truth entirely. They enter a cycle of self-deception where denial replaces reflection and ignorance replaces insight. They no longer want to see what's real because the illusion has become more comfortable than the truth. In our everyday lives, we all encounter lies. Let's be honest. Sometimes we even tell them ourselves. Research shows that the average person lies once or twice a day. Many of these lies are considered harmless, like saying you like someone's new haircut when you really don't, or pretending to be fine when you're actually upset. In fact, studies have revealed that 59% of adults admit to lying at least once and up to 5 times a day. Interestingly, men are statistically more likely to lie than women, but not all lies are created equal. There's a world of difference between a white lie told to protect someone's feelings and a lie used to cover up betrayal, manipulation, or serious wrongdoing. What defines the truly wicked isn't just the act of lying, it's the purpose behind it. When these individuals lie, it's not to preserve peace or protect someone's heart. It's to protect themselves, their reputation, their control, their secrets. And when the first lie is exposed, do they own it, apologize, make it right? Number, they double down. They invent more stories. They reshape the narrative. They lie about the lie, then lie again to cover the second one. It becomes a spiral, a collapsing house of cards where the only goal is to delay the fall. Each lie is like a thin plank stretched across a crumbling bridge, unsteady, desperate, doomed. And deep down, they know it. They're not just dishonest, they're terrified. Terrified of being found out, terrified of losing control. And instead of facing the truth and growing from it, they dig themselves deeper into deception, choosing the path of fear over courage. The cost? Trust is shattered. This kind of lying doesn't just hurt others, it corrodes everything it touches. Relationships, friendships, family bonds, they all begin to rot from the inside out. And when trust is broken, especially by someone close, the wound cuts deep. It's not easy to forgive, and it's even harder to forget. Those who lie to protect their own image betray more than just those around them. They betray themselves. With every false word, they drift further from truth and deeper into the trap they built with their own hands. Even when caught red-handed, they don't stop. They cling to the lie like it's a lifeline, believing, foolishly, that a new falsehood can erase the damage already done. But it never does. So what happens when lies aren't enough? When their mask begins to crumble under pressure? That's when their tactics shift again. In the next part, we'll uncover the 4th sign. How evil people manipulate others to turn them against you and isolate you even further. In the previous part, we saw how malicious people spiral into deeper deception, piling lie upon lie to avoid facing the truth. But deceit isn't always accidental. Often, it's deliberate, calculated, and part of a much darker strategy. Sign 4. They only come around when they need something. This behavior isn't just a slip-up or an emotional reaction. It's a strategy, a method to protect their own interests, no matter the emotional damage it causes. And that's what makes it even more disturbing. You see, wicked individuals don't just struggle with honesty, they disregard it. They don't respect the truth because they've learned how to manipulate it. To them, truth is not sacred. It's not a compass for moral living. Instead, it's a flexible tool, something they can reshape, twist, or ignore whenever it benefits them. That's why they're untrustworthy. And when trust is broken, especially by someone you once counted on, it's hard to rebuild. It's like trying to glue together shattered glass. You may piece it back, but the cracks never fully disappear. Now let's move to another telltale sign of toxic people, especially when they know you've seen their true face. They only come around when it benefits them. There's a powerful quote by Marcus Aurelius: "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." This wisdom reminds us that integrity isn't about what people say, It's about what they consistently do. Toxic people often fail this test. Once you've uncovered their true nature, their behavior starts to shift. They no longer pretend to be close, loving, or loyal. They stop showing up when you need something and start appearing only when they do. Before the mask fell, they might have seemed like dependable allies, always present, offering support, showing concern. But as the truth unfolds, you begin to notice a pattern. They vanish when you're struggling and reappear the moment they see an opportunity. It's the behavior of an opportunist. They don't truly invest in relationships, they calculate them. What can I get from this? Becomes the guiding question. And when there's nothing left to gain, they're gone. No goodbye, no explanation, no concern for your needs or emotions. Even worse, these people often reappear once you've rebuilt yourself. After your storm has passed and you've regained your strength, they come back with apologies, excuses, and false affection. They hope you'll forgive them quickly, easily, because they expect your kindness to keep the door open. And if you don't, if you set boundaries, they vanish again, at least until the next time they want something. This pattern exposes their true priorities. It was never about you. It was always about what they could get from you. We even see this kind of behavior in the lives of great thinkers. Take Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher known for his teachings on patience, self-control, and enduring hardship with dignity. Among his students was one who seemed deeply devoted, always around when he needed guidance, always seeking help for his own problems. But when Epictetus himself faced a difficult trial, something he hoped the student would walk through with him, that student disappeared. No support, no presence, nothing. Only after the struggle was over and Epictetus had overcome it alone, did the student come back, as if nothing had happened. It's a hard truth to face. Some people are only loyal to their needs, not to you. But what happens when they can't manipulate you directly anymore? In the next part, we'll explore the fifth sign, how toxic individuals begin turning others against you, one whisper at a time. As we just saw through the story of Epictetus, some people will return with empty excuses, pretending they were never absent, never selfish. But when you no longer serve their purpose, their absence speaks louder than their apologies. Sign 5. They try to make you feel stupid after their self-serving disappearance. These people may reappear as if nothing happened, offering flimsy excuses, vague justifications, and a hollow smile. But as Epictetus wisely recognized, when someone only shows up for their own benefit, they never truly valued the relationship to begin with. And more importantly, you shouldn't let that disturb your inner peace. This isn't about holding a grudge, it's about clarity. From this, we learn a powerful Stoic lesson. When someone continuously exploits your kindness, recognize it and draw the line. Don't allow others to use your compassion as a loophole to sneak back into your life with selfish motives. The Stoics encourage us to guard our mental clarity. Toxic people don't return with honest hearts. They come back with calculation, and if you let them in again without discernment, they'll only repeat the same behavior, leaving you drained and doubting yourself. A wise person understands this dynamic. They do not fall for sweet words or shallow regret. Instead of feeling hurt by someone's silence or abandonment, see it as a blessing. Their absence creates space for peace, for growth, for genuine connections. Marcus Aurelius said it best: be good and act according to your philosophy, no matter how others behave. This means staying anchored in your own integrity, not getting pulled into others' emotional games or manipulative cycles. Eventually, when they sense they no longer have the same grip on you, these individuals start fading from your life. Let them. Their silence isn't a loss, it's a gift. It means your boundaries are working. It means you're protecting your energy. because no one can exploit your kindness forever, not if you guard it with wisdom and self-respect. So instead of endlessly forgiving and tolerating repeated harm, focus on building meaningful, authentic relationships. Ones based on mutual respect, understanding, and long-term growth. Let go of what drains you and invest in what uplifts you. Now let's turn to a particularly cruel tactic used by toxic individuals, making you feel stupid. This one cuts deep because it attacks your self-worth. Imagine confiding in someone about a problem. You're vulnerable, hoping for comfort or support, but instead they hit you with, "You should have seen that coming. Why did you even do that?" At first, it might seem like tough love, but under the surface, it stings. What you really feel is shame, like you were naive, foolish, even deserving of what happened. That emotional blow wasn't accidental, it was strategic. They want to make you feel small. Why? Because someone who doubts themselves is easier to control, easier to manipulate. When they diminish your confidence, they gain power. This behavior is textbook manipulation. It's subtle, often dressed as advice or concern, but the result is always the same. You feel embarrassed, confused, and emotionally isolated. From a Stoic perspective, this behavior is not only unkind, it's a direct violation of virtue. Stoicism teaches that all actions should stem from reason, integrity, and alignment with nature. To mock, belittle, or emotionally abuse someone, especially when they're vulnerable, is to stray far from that path. These people don't help you reflect. They try to make you regret yourself. And that's not guidance. That's psychological warfare. So how do you protect yourself from these subtle attacks on your self-worth? In the next section, we'll explore how to respond with strength and how to stay grounded when someone tries to shrink your value with their words. We've seen how toxic individuals chip away at your confidence by making you question your intelligence. But when that tactic fails, they often pivot to something even more cunning, pretending they have no idea what they've done. Sign 6. They pretend they don't know what they did. It's one of the most manipulative behaviors in the playbook of toxic people, acting innocent when caught. Once their actions are exposed, they don't reflect, apologize, or make amends. Instead, they feign confusion, twist your words, and claim they never realized anything was wrong. This isn't about misunderstanding, it's about control. Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." And toxic people know this well. They exploit that truth. Instead of taking responsibility for their behavior, they manipulate your interpretation of it. They play a psychological game, one where they distort not just the facts, but your perception of reality itself. When confronted, they act surprised, as if your pain is news to them. They might sarcastically ask things like, "Why didn't you say something earlier if it hurt you so much?" This isn't genuine concern. It's blame shifting. A sly tactic to make it seem like you're the one at fault for not speaking up sooner. Even if you have expressed your feelings multiple times, they'll pretend it's the first they're hearing of it. This tactic is designed to make you question yourself. Did I not say it clearly enough? Am I overreacting? Maybe it really was just a misunderstanding, and suddenly you're not angry anymore. You're unsure. That's exactly what they want. They twist the truth so effectively that you start to feel guilty for being hurt. You begin to doubt your memory, your boundaries, and even your right to feel upset. In doing so, they strip you of your emotional clarity, making you more pliable, more unsure, and easier to control. This isn't forgetfulness. It's emotional manipulation, pure and simple. Even when you've clearly communicated how their actions impacted you, they'll continue pretending they had no idea. This repetition isn't innocent. It's calculated. It wears you down, weakens your voice, and diminishes your sense of certainty. According to Stoic philosophy, when faced with such dishonest behavior, we must protect our inner peace. We cannot control the actions or words of others, but we can control our reaction to them. That's where our power lies. Instead of getting caught in their emotional trap, a Stoic remains calm, grounded and clear. You don't need to convince someone who's determined to lie. You need to protect your truth and your self-worth. Because here's the reality. Bad people often refuse to acknowledge the harm they've caused because accepting it would mean accepting the consequences. That's why they play innocent. That's why they rewrite the story, and that's why they gaslight you, so they can keep operating without guilt, shame, or accountability. But don't let them erase your truth. Their refusal to admit what they've done is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. It shows a deep lack of respect, not only for your emotions, but for truth itself. So how do they keep manipulating others, even when the truth is obvious? In the next section, we'll uncover the seventh and final sign, how toxic individuals try to isolate you, turning others against you to protect themselves and keep control. In the previous part, we learned that you don't have to bend yourself to fit someone else's broken version of truth. When you stay grounded in your own values, you disarm manipulation at its root. But sometimes the manipulation goes deeper, becoming a full-scale strategy to control your mind, your choices, and even your identity. Sign 7. They try to manipulate you. The final sign, the most calculated, the most dangerous, is manipulation. When someone is manipulating you, it's not just about words, it's about control. They're not trying to communicate with you. They're trying to override you, to slowly take over your ability to think freely, act independently, and trust yourself. This tactic doesn't just poison your relationship with them, it leaks into your friendships, your family bonds, even your relationship with yourself. And worst of all, it's not always obvious. Manipulation is often cloaked in false kindness. It's not just about lies or aggression, it's about emotional intrusion. Many manipulators appear caring, even nurturing. They listen, offer support, seem deeply invested in your well-being. But underneath that gentle surface lies a hidden agenda. They're not helping, they're positioning. Manipulative people are often highly emotionally intelligent. They read people with precision, but instead of using that ability to build meaningful relationships, they weaponize it. They study you. They learn your vulnerabilities, your fears, your insecurities, your dreams, and then slowly begin using them against you. It starts small. They subtly influence your decisions. They question your judgment. They push you to compromise your values. Just a little at first. They'll make you feel guilty for saying no, or suggest that relying on them is the only way to find safety or happiness. And before you know it, you've given up more than you ever intended. Your boundaries start to blur. Your confidence begins to crack. You feel emotionally indebted, like you owe them something. That's exactly where they want you. Unsure, dependent, controlled. This kind of manipulation is especially dangerous because it disguises itself as love, support, or loyalty. But the true goal is dominance, not connection. This tactic is designed to make you question yourself. Did I not say it clearly enough? Am I overreacting? Maybe it really was just a misunderstanding. And suddenly you're not angry anymore. You're unsure. That's exactly what they want. They twist the truth so effectively that you start to feel guilty for being hurt. You begin to doubt your memory, your boundaries, and even your right to feel upset. In doing so, they strip you of your emotional clarity, making you more pliable, more unsure, and easier to control. This isn't forgetfulness. It's emotional manipulation, pure and simple. Even when you've clearly communicated how their actions impacted you, They'll continue pretending they had no idea. This repetition isn't innocent. It's calculated. It wears you down, weakens your voice, and diminishes your sense of certainty. According to Stoic philosophy, when faced with such dishonest behavior, we must protect our inner peace. We cannot control the actions or words of others, but we can control our reaction to them. That's where our power lies. Instead of getting caught in their emotional trap, a Stoic remains calm, grounded, and clear. You don't need to convince someone who's determined to lie. You need to protect your truth and your self-worth. Because here's the reality. Bad people often refuse to acknowledge the harm they've caused because accepting it would mean accepting the consequences. That's why they play innocent. That's why they rewrite the story. And that's why they gaslight you so they can keep operating without guilt, shame, or accountability. But don't let them erase your truth. Their refusal to admit what they've done is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. It shows a deep lack of respect, not only for your emotions, but for truth itself. So how do they keep manipulating others, even when the truth is obvious? In the next section, we'll uncover the seventh and final sign, how toxic individuals try to isolate you, turning others against you to protect themselves and keep control. In the previous part, we learned that you don't have to bend yourself to fit someone else's broken version of truth. When you stay grounded in your own values, you disarm manipulation at its root. But sometimes the manipulation goes deeper, becoming a full-scale strategy to control your mind, your choices, and even your identity. Sign 7, they try to manipulate you. The final sign, the most calculated, the most dangerous, is manipulation. When someone is manipulating you, it's not just about words, it's about control. They're not trying to communicate with you. They're trying to override you, to slowly take over your ability to think freely, act independently, and trust yourself. This tactic doesn't just poison your relationship with them, it leaks into your friendships, your family bonds, even your relationship with yourself. And worst of all, it's not always obvious. Manipulation is often cloaked in false kindness. It's not just about lies or aggression, it's about emotional intrusion. Many manipulators appear caring, even nurturing. They listen, offer support, seem deeply invested in your well-being. But underneath that gentle surface lies a hidden agenda. They're not helping, they're positioning. Manipulative people are often highly emotionally intelligent. They read people with precision, but instead of using that ability to build meaningful relationships, they weaponize it. They study you. They learn your vulnerabilities, your fears, your insecurities, your dreams, and then slowly begin using them against you. It starts small. They subtly influence your decisions. They question your judgment. They push you to compromise your values just a little at first. They'll make you feel guilty for saying no, or suggest that relying on them is the only way to find safety or happiness. And before you know it, you've given up more than you ever intended. Your boundaries start to blur. Your confidence begins to crack. You feel emotionally indebted, like you owe them something. That's exactly where they want you. Unsure, dependent, control. This kind of manipulation is especially dangerous because it disguises itself as love, support, or loyalty. But the true goal is dominance, not connection. So what can we do? From a Stoic perspective, the answer is simple but profound. Set boundaries and honor them. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're survival. They're how we protect our peace, preserve our values, and maintain our autonomy. You must become deeply aware of your limits, what you will and will not accept, and communicate those boundaries clearly, and then enforce them. Manipulators will test you. They'll say, it's just one time, or don't you trust me, or you're overthinking it, don't fall for it. Because every time you give in, you give away a little more of your freedom. And according to Stoic philosophy, freedom is internal. It's not granted by others. It's created and maintained within your own mind. When you let someone manipulate you, you're not just compromising a decision, you're compromising your dignity. That's something a Stoic would never accept. A classic manipulation tactic is making you feel dependent, convincing you that they're the only one who understands you, the only one who can save you. But here's the truth. You don't need saving. You need clarity. You need space. You need to reclaim your power. Because once you see manipulation for what it is, you can never unsee it. And that awareness becomes your armor. So let's review. When toxic people know you've uncovered the truth about them, they respond with tactics. They reinvent themselves, shift blame, make you feel unsure, play the victim, twist your emotions, deny your experiences, and finally manipulate your mind. But here's the Stoic truth. You don't have to play their game. You can choose a different path, one of clarity, boundaries, calm, and truth. You don't need revenge. You don't need to prove anything. All you need is to remember who you are, what you stand for, and how powerful your silence can be when it's rooted in inner peace. Have you encountered people like this? What helped you stay strong and centered? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your story might be the reminder someone else needs today. And if you found this valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's keep growing together. When a manipulator convinces you that you can't handle life without them, it's not just an insult, it's an attack on your independence. But no matter how deep you've been pulled into their web, remember, the path back to yourself is never closed. Manipulators will do everything in their power to convince you that you are weak without them, that only they can guide you, save you, or fix you. But the painful truth is, the longer you stay under their influence, the more you surrender your ability to make decisions, trust your instincts, and believe in yourself. Little by little, your autonomy erodes, your voice fades, your confidence disappears, and before you even realize it, you're no longer living your life. You're living the life they scripted for you. But here's what you must know. Escaping this trap is difficult, yes, but it is absolutely possible. Manipulators won't let go easily. They'll fight for control using guilt, flattery, fear, and doubt. They'll pull every trick they know to keep you tethered to them. But your greatest defense? Self-awareness and boundaries. Affirm your worth. Hold your ground. Reinforce your limits again and again, no matter how much they test you. Because you cannot control what others choose to do, but you can always control how you respond. And that inner control, that calm mastery over yourself, is a power no one can take away unless you hand it to them. Today we've explored the 7 common behaviors of toxic individuals once they realize their true nature has been exposed. By recognizing these signs, you not only protect yourself, you reclaim your freedom. And in every situation, Stoic philosophy reminds us, no one can harm us without our consent, because true harm comes not from the outside, but from how we choose to receive it. Stay calm, stay clear, stay free. Toxic people will always seek to manipulate, dominate, and control. But your real strength, the one they can never touch, is your ability to keep your mind steady, your heart pure, and your soul unchained. If today's message resonated with you, if you felt a part of your own story in these words, then you already know. This journey towards strength, peace, and true inner freedom is not one we have to walk alone. At Stoic Bloom, we are building a community, a place where philosophy isn't just an idea, it's a way of living, where calmness isn't weakness, it's power, where wisdom isn't rare, it's shared. So if you believe in living with clarity, strength, and purpose, hit that subscribe button. Like this video if it helped you. Comment below. Share your story, your victories, your challenges. Let's grow stronger together. And most importantly, share this message with your friends, your family, your community. Bring them here. Let's build a garden of wisdom that keeps blooming day after day. This is not just a channel. This is a movement. This is Stoic Bloom. And together, we rise. Stoic Bloom. Let your peace bloom in a chaotic world.